Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. It's your host, Sean. It is the most dreaded day in America. This is the most un-American day in America. After 250 years, we are on the least. This is the day that the criminals get to steal more from us, folks. So why not have somebody on here? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's tax day. And if you don't know me, I hate taxes in every way, shape, and form. I think it's just legalized theft. Remember, we threw cases of tea into the water because of this. And now you lose a third of your income to these people because they say it's okay. But why not have somebody to help me out on a day like today when I'm having my own personal mental health struggles with paying these scumbags? I don't like any of them. So I needed somebody to help me out. And instead of having and going and saying, man, I might have to have some marijuana for something like this, why not have someone named Mara J. James? Dude, it's like the wildest thing. Like, maybe we'll get her to explain the whole thing to us. So joining us all the way from the left coast, because I got to get some left coast folks out here every so often. Joining us all the way out there, and we're going to be talking about, if I can find my other media, they move stuff on StreamYard for me. Joining us all the way from California, we're going to be talking about mental health. It is Miss Mara J. James. You like that?
I like that.
I told you I have really no idea how these openings are going to go, but I had an idea where I was going to go with this one. So I got you in there. So she's going to talk to us. We're going to be talking about mental health. We may talk about piggies and elves and everything else, which really falls into the whole Mara Jane here. So we'll figure out how all this works together. But let's go ahead and take care of some house cleaning here real quick, folks. So over my right shoulder is the big board for Sticker and a Cause. You have something you believe in, something you're supporting, you want folks to know about it. And if you got a sticker for it, you can reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok. Our website is theabovethebarpodcast.com. Our email is theabovethebarpodcast@gmail.com. Reach out. Let me know what you got going on. I'll get your sticker up here on the board. Everybody will know about what you got going on. It's the way we all grow, folks, supporting each other every way we can. Next, we got to talk about the people who pay the bills around here. And that's Budget Blinds of East Greenbush, Hudson, Coxsackie, Schoharie, Delmar, Clifton Park, North America's largest custom window treatment company. They're handling everything from blind, shade, shutter, drapery. What you got going on back here, Miss Mara? You got some nice drapery. Is that drapery I see back here? Look at that.
Yeah, it came with the house.
Came with that, but actually it looks like it's a vertical. So a nice vertical she has going on there. So they have everything. They can help you out, and it's all custom made. For those of you that just jumped on from YouTube, welcome. Make sure you're giving that a follow. You can hear what we got going on here. I appreciate all you guys jumping on. But make sure you're reaching out to your local Budget Blinds. And if you're in the capital region, they're doing 25% off of all custom drapery and Roman shades. So reach out to Budget Blinds, East Greenbush, Hudson, Coxsackie, Schoharie, Delmar, Clifton Park. Make sure you tell them you're there to belly up to the bar, and they're going to give you an extra 5% off your entire order. All right. So Miss Mara Jane, and if you didn't know that, I just learned this, that Jane in Spanish is Joanna.
Well, I hear it's Juana, so
Juana, so marijuana. I love it. There's no way you can make up that your name is Marijuana James.
Mara.
Excuse me, Marijuana James. I keep wanting to say Marijuana James. There's no way. Like, you could have been like a pro wrestler. Like, that's a pro wrestler name. You know that, right?
Okay, I better start wrestling.
Yeah, it's a whole nother career choice for you. So, well, tell us a little bit about yourself here. I'm pulling up my notes, as I always say. I got to grab those off of the other screen. But so you started off in Strong Island.
Yep, which is Long Island, New York, for those that don't know that.
And listen, you're definitely from Long Island because as you said it, your shoulders bumped the entire time you said it. You were like, for those who don't know, like your head moved one way, your shoulders moved the other. That is a very Strong Island thing. Now, where'd you grow up down there?
Great Neck.
Okay. Spent a little time in Garden City because that's where we had a headquarters there for the Marine Corps. Um,
Roosevelt Field Flea Market there on Sundays was the best. You get a pickle on a stick while you walk. Great. Yep.
that's a new one for me. A pickle on a stick. I've never that's definitely a new one I've never heard of. But you've also you're a God. You've done a little bit of everything. You've done some writing. You've got great life experience. You've got the elf empowerment. You've got your website. You've got the piggy. You help children out. I mean, you've got a little bit of everything going on here. I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. How does this journey even begin for you? Because, like I said, you're not like, oh, I'm a life coach. I'm a self help. Like, you're a pretty positive person so far, and like, but you got a little bit of everything going on. So tell me how all this journey started.
Right. Okay. So grew up as a regular person, I guess, in New York and relocated to California about 18 years ago with my husband and my three children. And I was running his OBGYN office. Everything was hunky dory until about 12 years ago, out of the blue, I experienced a manic episode, was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, didn't even know I had any mental health challenges. Always knew I had some anxiety, but nothing was officially diagnosed, this and that. And boy, oh boy, did my life, my journey begun then, right? So number one, it was a very, very big spiritual awakening from zero God in my life to like, hey, it's me, wake up. And, of course, and then they're like, oh, you're bipolar. I'm like, yeah, two polarities, heaven and earth. And anyway, I
I
needed to
like it.
yeah, I need to be grounded and brought back to planet Earth. So I was heavily medicated with 3 different medications, stuck in bed for a few weeks. Luckily, I wasn't locked up in the hospital. Met with a psychiatrist, therapist, and then one by one, the universe started introducing me to these wonderful holistic healers. And they're the ones that truly help me transform my life. One of my healers said, if you're diagnosed with bipolar disorder, 13 or older, it means you have a strong resentment, maybe a toxic hatred towards somebody. And I'm like, oh, and as I started doing more healing, I realized that was towards my dad. So he said, if you heal your heart, it changes your brain chemistry. And that's the only way you'll be able to wean off your
I
medication.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Now, mind you, medication is great when it's needed for sure. It helps us to survive. But I'm not only about surviving, I'm about thriving. And you got to do the work. Boy, oh boy. So after a couple of years, I was able to be weaned off my medication. I joke around that I went from medication to meditation. It was 2 years later. So I was 52 years old when I was working with a healer and recalled my traumatic childhood trauma. So that, so I always, so you got to practice what you preach. So I'm all about compassion and forgiveness. And I know people believe that some things are unforgivable. I'd like to think that everything is forgivable. So I guide people towards that. Getting back to my manic episode, it was in May, but ironically, or divine synchronicity, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And my older son was a freshman at UC Santa Barbara when the Isla Vista shooting happened. And that's where a 22-year-old killed 6 people and himself. And as soon as I found out that one of my son's friends was a victim,
Oh,
that's
wow.
when, yeah, I knew, like, that's when God said to me, I needed to do something about this because my middle son, so gifted and so challenged with Asperger's ADHD, he could have been that shooter if he was not properly
Guided.
medicated, healed, guided with all different things. And again, like some holistic stuff, and maybe people call it woo woo, and that's just yeah. And that's a whole miracle story because you'll see behind me, like I'll tell you about the nonprofit in a moment, but I just came out recently with my book. It's called Unconditional Mental Health Redefined. And it's a teaching memoir sharing about my middle son. And I mean, the psychiatrist said years ago he was never going to go to college. And I just flew into Jersey a few months ago where he defended his dissertation and just got his PhD in math. So a total amazing miracle story.
Did you say PhD in math?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Albert Einstein, genius brain, but remember, the greater the gift, the greater the curse. And so, social skills need some help, but his mathematical brain, and we got to help with, because there was some suicidal ideation in high school, and we got to get that cleared up with some energy healers. He didn't want it, he was doing limited medication, but yeah. So getting back to also during my episode, I realized, like, when I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I'm like, I knew what was going on was crazy, but I knew I wasn't crazy. My mind has never been crystal clear. So that's why I started the foundation. One of my friend's husbands said, numbers were talking to me a lot back then, and I love numbers. So my friend's husband said, one of your numbers is 73. 73 backwards is EL. You should name your foundation nonprofit EL. And I'm like, we'll help people live extraordinary lives. And so it was interesting, because once I was medicated and able to drive and pretty stable, I was meeting with one of my actually rabbi, and he said to me, well, you know what L is? And I'm like, nope. He's like, El, Elohim, God. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm like, A, we're doing God's work. And B, maybe what I do personally is help people find God in a spiritual sense versus the religious sense.
What do you mean by that?
I believe that God is unconditional love and is here to support us and doesn't judge us. And, some religions are like, this is how you have to honor him. And, you have to go to temple or church, and you have to do this, that, and watch what you eat, and da, 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 da. And I'm like, ooh, those are a lot of rules. Right. And I just, some people say, don't do this because you'll go to hell. And I'm like, do you have proof that hell exists? So I have a whole different understanding of God. Again, unconditional. And I don't feel like God's judging us. I feel like we judge us and we judge others. And as we judge others, we're being judged.
Okay, that makes sense to me. And look, folks, if you want to know what Mara's got going on, you can check out marajjames.com. You can see it for those of you that are out there watching. If you have questions, maybe you have your own personal mental health struggle and you want to mention it, or have a question about how does folks get out of those different ways and get off the medications and all that stuff, please drop it into the comments. Nate, who good close friend of the show, says always helps to stay grounded and connected with the earth. That's absolutely true, brother. It's that time of the year where we can, if you're in the Northeast, where we can finally get out of the house and get back into the sunlight. And it's funny because up here you hear your doctors talk about, oh, your vitamin D is down and deficiencies, and it's like, do you not understand? We don't get a ton of sunlight and get to go outside. So all these things are going on. You're feeling all these connections to God and different elements that are being put into you. And it's interesting that you would say that for yourself. So you come from a Jewish background where numbers are huge. Like children get their names changed if their number, if you know about this, right? You've ever heard about this?
Yeah.
Well, that's a very big thing in the Jewish faith. So do you know the whole thing about 490?
No.
Oh, you have to look into that one. So 490 and I'm going to get this wrong. I'll explain it because I'm trying to remember it the best I can. So Bethlehem, the city of Bethlehem was named, actually has something to do with bread. Like that's the name of it, has to do with bread.
Oh, wow.
Has something to do with bread. Jesus had bread, but the number for bread is 490. When Peter asked how many times he should forgive somebody, Jesus said 70 times 7, 70 times 7, which is 490. So it's a very important number that people. There's a whole full circle thing, and I actually learned that from a rabbi.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
Thank you, ChatGPT. So what is the spiritual meaning of 490? Completion, forgiveness, and divine cycles.
So there you go. Like there's a full 490, and it's very big in the Jewish religion is numbers. Remember, there's an entire book in the Old Testament called
Numbers. So again, I was never religious. Spiritual, yes, very connected. Yeah. I thank you for that. I love that. I'm going to.
But I just love hearing that you started to recognize and see these things all around you with the numbers. So that's really very interesting. So I'm always curious when people go off on entrepreneurial journeys, and that's what this is. Even though it's a spiritual journey and you're helping people, it is a entrepreneurial journey because like it or not, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. Somebody has to pay for this stuff. There has to be a process. When you were coming out of your situation in your manic situation, your family's seen you at your low point, and now all of a sudden in manic, super highs, super lows.
No, just high. Manic is high.
Oh, is manic super highs?
It's high.
Okay. So here you are in this super high. How did they react to you saying, "Okay, now I'm gonna go do all these things and it's great"? Like, were they
So my
paused?
husband is an OBGYN, Western trained physician. Okay.
Okay.
And Jewish. And so is I, right, or so am I. But yeah, so when I'm talking to him a lot about God and a little bit about Jesus and all this stuff, he was horrified. To me, it was beautiful and scary time in my life. So we had a therapist that we would use to help us with parenting, because parenting, a gift and challenging child. And it was so funny because the Dr. Habib always met with the two of us. And he said to my husband, he's like, is it okay if I meet with Married by herself? And I felt like my husband wanted to say, take her and don't return her until she's back to normal. Really. And the craziest thing is that Dr. Habib, I had my rabbi, my therapist, my older son around me to help me know like what was going on. Like, okay, maybe it was totally crazy, but I wasn't crazy. Right. Because anyway, so working with him, and I even told him, I'm like, Dr. Habib, I heard a voice and it said out loud, I saved your soul and now you do what I say. And just so you know, for me in a manic episode, it's like having a bottle of wine. People might call it beer goggles, whatever, but it was like the most beautiful thing and everything is great, but you're vibrating at a high level. So when I hear this voice talking to me out loud, I would have dropped dead of a heart attack if I wasn't in that elevated state. Okay. And I was so scared to say anything about that voice. And then numbers like, three is a big number for me, but I was at GameStop and 3 games with the word destiny started floating to me. That was the last time I drove for a few weeks. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, we don't need stuff floating by without, anyway. And I don't know if I said this out loud or in my head, but I'm like, okay, God, this is way too much. And it was like, wow. Anyway, so that was interesting. Yeah. And then I had my rabbi, I'm like, okay, getting messages from the TV and the radio. He's like, well, God speaks to people in different ways. I'm like, okay, Roger that. Because to me, God was this judgmental king in the sky looking down and just so not what I understand God to be, yeah. And let me tell you this, as I was going on my healing journey, I'm still there 12 years later, but so much of it was healing my inner child from like a 3 to 7 year old age, and a lot like 4 and 5. That's where I started Extraordinary Lives Foundation, whose mission, or ELF, whose mission is to improve children's mental health and wellness. And we have our beloved Piggy Bear. And by the way, Piggy Bear's ears are in the shape of a heart, because as I always tell my husband, listen to people from a loving heart, not a judgmental head. Very hard to do,
Oh, I love that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's because we're so judgmental. We were just born that way, and I try not to be, but my mom's voice in my head, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, let me just not repeat what I just thought in my head, So I believe like in that upstream approach, like God willing, we do happy, healthy children, happy, healthy teens, happy, healthy adults. Definitely, we get to focus up there upstream, meaning let's not go down the stream and pull somebody out of the water that tried to commit suicide. Let's go up to the bridge and prevent them from even going on the bridge.
Oh, that's it. Listen, ounce of prevention, pound of cure. Real quick, our friend Cody, who has recently been married, she must be with her new man down in Mexico. And she said safety first with those things. But listen, I'm a wealth of worthless knowledge. I want you to understand that. So do you know why we're judgy and we do the things we do? Like why we feel that need?
Because that ego makes us feel better. Why?
Captain Caveman days. If you got kicked out of the group, that meant dying.
Yeah.
And whoever was closest to the center of the group, you got more food, you got taken care of. So that is translated in further parts of our lives to, are you looking at me? Are you judging me? Is this going to keep me out of the group?
Am I going to, right, say like, yeah.
Right. It's where it's that flight or fight moment. So you're talking to but still I want to go back to like when you told them that this is what we're kicking off, this is where we're going, we're doing, Elf, we're doing these things. What was the reaction like? Because I mean, you kind of remind me like I know people where you're like, I got it, I got 100 ideas, but trying to you're it's kind of like herding cats, like trying to get all the ideas together.
Yes, and
What were oh,
chronologically,
in a
because I'm
chronological order.
right, because not even know what a visionary is to being like, oh, you get a God-given vision, and then it happens in God's time, and the more your ego gets attached to it, the longer it takes. So, well, let me tell you a funny story. So during
Please.
my episode, I dropped my friend and I dropped our daughters off at softball. They were like, let's say 10 years old, travel softball, wear it, I think maybe Kmart. And I see this stuffed pig, this pink pig. And I walk by it and I walk by and I walk back and I just had to buy it. And I go to my daughter's softball game, like, power the pig. Pig's going to save the world. Piggy's going to save the world. And, my daughter's like, really? And I don't think my husband was there. That was good. But, so definitely like I remember everything that happened, but that was definitely very interesting. And then, my husband was horrified. Like I would start writing, and I started wearing flowy stuff. So he was definitely scared. I didn't understand what this writing was because I was not a writer. I don't even speak English. My first language, second language, third language are numbers, as I said. So I would wake up in the middle of the night and start writing. So, it took my husband a while for me to prove that I was stable, sane, I guess. Anyway, so I don't know how much I asked versus told him like what I was doing, and he's really supportive. And of course, he helped fund, and we started the nonprofit with next to nothing. And luckily, I joke around that my husband makes the money and I make the difference. So I'm just going to say, let me rephrase that. As an OBGYN, he makes a huge difference. Okay. Don't get me wrong. But luckily, and I take care of all the funds and, our bank accounts and nothing. I didn't do anything crazy, which is great. But anyway, so he was supportive of me, but cautious. And it wasn't. And then my middle son's so funny. He's like, when are you going to make money from Piggy Bear? Because we're all about donating and we donate to schools and children's hospitals and all these different programs that we have.
Fair point.
And I'm like, well, one day, and here we are. We just had last year as our 10-year anniversary of ELF, which is so exciting. And now we're actually moving, the Piggy Bear IP is being sold and being moved into a for-profit. And this is where, because we had an animated short film created and we proved that everyone
Proof of concept.
Thank you. And I'm like, oh, we're going to get money for like all the donors. I'm like, yeah, no, we're not getting donors to pay for an animated series. So moving into the social enterprise for-profit, that's going to get angel investors that want to make a difference, not just money, to help us get the animated series. So we could have so Piggy Bear is Mr. Rogers and spiritual guru incarnated in this beloved best friend plush that teaches them how to identify emotions, do deep belly breathing and self-hugs for self-love and kindness and compassion and just all these things that everybody needs. Piggy Bear is also there for the inner child and us adults. So, I did start out with ELF and now, however many years later, we're expanding into the social enterprise and I was brought a beautiful business partner. With my book, I wrote it in 1 week during COVID, but it was sitting over there on the side. And in 2022, my friend says, you have to write a book because it's going to give you credibility. And I'm like, okay, God talks to me through different people. So I did that. And in November of 2025, my book Unconditional came out. And it's kind of like, there's a saying, I don't know, about like in the New Testament, like, give me my daily bread. So every day it's like, what are my orders for today? I try not to worry about the future because when we live in the future, we have anxiety. Living in the past is all about depression. So let's heal all that stuff up. So I was able to kind of keep my things pretty with the medication stable. Now, I will tell you, the first time I had a business person that said to me, we need to start doing a strategic plan for ELF. She's like, you're going to hate it. It's going to burst your bubble because when you take these big, when you go to build Rome, you got to have a roadmap. And the first few years, not fun. I'm like, wait, when can I go eat there? Or, whatever. So it was really funny. So even though it burst my bubble, I keep keeping my visions out there because I believe my visions were given to me for a reason. And I just, I see things, I always feel like I've done nothing. And I look and I'm like, wow, that's really not right. You've done a lot and just keep going day by day.
Well, it's funny. I was waiting for you to say that because I could tell that planning and putting all the strategic planning part of it for you has to be. It just feels like that's got to be painful. Like what do you mean? No, I just want to go run. Yeah, but we need to know where we're running to. But no, I know it's out there. Let me just go run, and I could tell. And again, folks, if I keep wanting to do it, but it's so great that you reminded me of how to remember your name. So, Mara, if you want to know what hell she's got going on, it's marajjames.com. Go check her website out. If you guys have questions, your friend Keisha just gave you a heart. Look at that. Uh, so, I mean, it's very wild to me. So, but I want to. Oh, you don't know about that?
Yeah, I
So,
forget.
so,
I
oh,
love the
so,
snack. Yeah.
so I do these ones all the time.
Oh,
So
yay!
see, you're one of the few people that actually have it. Do you know how to get the laser beams? Do you know
Do
the laser?
tell.
Go like this, and then
Wait, oh, like that?
yep, like you're giving the rock and roll.
Come on. Come on. Hello.
Just
Get
hold
down.
them steady. There it
Oh,
goes.
oh, I learned something new. We are having fun.
And then here's the last one. You know how to get balloons?
Oh, wait, we did the heart one. Balloons. No, they come up and I don't know what I did. Oh, that's so funny
Oh no,
because
that's confetti. That's
oh
confetti.
yay, this
And
is fun.
then
Balloons, give me
it,
balloons.
what is balloons?
Bunny ears?
Oh God, I can't remember. I can't remember what balloons is now. I used to remember what balloon. I can't remember what balloons are. I know a single thumb will give you a thumbs up,
Or maybe double thumb?
and then if you go, no, that's like, and then that'll give you that. Somebody will remember how to do it. Yeah, Keisha, I'm ridiculous with these because most people are like, I didn't know I could do that. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
they're all in there.
so cool.
But but I don't want to kind of skirt over Elf because that really is when it was explained to me what Elf was and how you're working with kids and helping kids out. And is Elf also the program for kids that are aging out of programs, or is that something different?
No, right now we have ELF, again,
Okay,
Extraordinary Lives Foundation.
say it
So
slower. Say it slower.
Extraordinary Lives Foundation,
Okay.
but ELF for short. And right now we have programming that includes, we have Piggy Bear, we have two Piggy Bear books and power cards, and we donate them to lower income, more vulnerable children at pre-K and TK. We're very upstream, right? And of course, I want to be pre-K to high school, but we have to start somewhere.
Right.
And then we also have our Piggy Bear Therapeutic Happy Packs where each child gets their own Piggy Bear plush and squeezy toy and the power of Piggy Bear. And those go to children in the hospital. We just got into UCLA inpatient mental health, 5 to 12
Wow.
year olds. Wow. Everyone thinks like, oh, cancer, but there's mental health stuff. And, it just, Piggy Bear is just really empowering. Oh,
I switched your screen. I
oh,
brought you in. I brought you in closer. I realized the way my screen was set up, so I just adjusted it.
excuse me.
Closer, Clarice.
Lisa. Yeah. So, yeah, the program we do there is just, and something else we did that's really cool. So, do you have children?
I have 8.
Okay, that's it.
I have
I thought,
eight kids and 7 grandkids.
oh my God, that's amazing. I have 3 kids and 4 fur babies. Anyway,
Got 4 of those too. 2 cats, 2 dogs.
oh, yummy. I love that. What a beautiful heart. So with like when your child's 5 years old, no parent wants to talk about mental health, right?
Yeah, no.
So, and what's so beautiful is my friend Fifi and I grew up in New York together. And what are the odds that we're both out here? Fifi is now California State Treasurer Fiona Ma, running for lieutenant governor.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, it's divine. And she's such a support of us. And she flies down to Orange County every year for our gala, which is September 26th in Orange County. Anyway, and we worked with her office and we worked with Congresswoman Young Kim. And actually we're in talks with Senator Britt's office and Senator Padilla's office to have September recognized as National Children's Emotional Wellness Month, because we all want emotional wellness for our children, right?
Absolutely.
And it's the beginning of the school year, so we donate our children's emotional wellness program over the summer, so they do it in this beginning of the school year, so teachers, parents, and young children have tools.
Right. And that's a great transition time for kids too, because they're going from the summer to having fun or being in camps to this abrupt change of, all right, now go. You got to
Right.
go learn some stuff.
Right.
And
New
that's interesting.
classroom, new school. And you know, it's really cool if you look at a lot of parents, like when the kids are going to preschool or kindergarten, how much, when you look at the child with anxiety, let's look at the parent. Like
Oh yeah.
these kids are here to reflect what
They
us moms.
absorb it. They absorb it right in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They are our mirrors. Yep. They are our mirrors.
100%. It's interesting. It's funny as you mention all these names. I got to shout out Kristen real quick, Kristen Manna, for a moment. I'm the
Yeah.
most connected person in Orange County who's never lived there
I love it. Yeah.
because every time I turn around, she introduces me to all you great people, and you
Yeah.
come on the show, and I'm like, I don't live in Orange County, but I'm like, I know the superintendent of schools.
Oh,
Uh,
Dr. Bean and he's
but
amazing. We're going to be
I love
sharing.
Doctor. He was on here. Dr. Beam was on here. Dr.
Beautiful.
Bean's the best. I think about that dude all the time. I'm like, I got not a damn thing in the world ever to complain about. That dude is just he's cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Yeah.
So you're going through this. At what point for Elf and for does it go from just the idea to where you realize, wait, this is an idea that I'm putting together. This is a life of its own. When did you realize that?
Oh, I never thought it was an idea of mine.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I was so connected. It was like God told me to do it. So some people say, "Oh, I was inspired to do it." I wasn't inspired to do it. I was guided to.
Divine, you were divinely guided.
I was one, and everything I do, I'm like, and that's why I'm like, not my way, but thy way, and bring people, bring money, bring resources, and this is, and at first I'm like, oh, I can't make any money. And it's like, no, we can make money and we need to make money because the more we make, the more we get to do, and everything with my MJJ for profit. And as Piggy Bear becomes a social enterprise for profit, will help fund ELF and all the work to help children's mental health and emotional wellness. They are our future. We need to start breaking cycles for all these families that keep carrying over like lots of drama and trauma from childhood.
I love that you're taking it to a for profit. One of my
Keeping ELF as a nonprofit, but Piggy
okay.
Bear as
Oh,
the
so
for.
so you're separating the two.
Yes, the Piggy Bear IP is going into the for profit, and
Okay.
Elf will still have it as their mascot.
Interesting. So I got to ask a business question then. How does that work to be able to take and for folks, if you don't know what an IP, that's intellectual property, just so everybody understands what that means. To give it in perspective. That's when you create an idea at work and you think, hey, I'm going to run with this great idea that I created at my job. And when you leave and try to do it and they sue the pants off of you because they know that, hey, you invented it in our offices, it belongs to us. That's what an IP is, folks. But how do you separate those two
Well, I'll tell you.
where
Yep,
that's interesting? Oh, look, my
I love it. Yay. Well, it's funny because, I never got paid for anything I did. And I authored the books and I'm like, okay, I'm going to give Piggy Bear to Elf and, get the IP. And then I pitched the board and they, voted without me to get a valuation, external company to get an evaluation. And then, so the Piggy Bear for profit gets to buy it from the nonprofit.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
buy it, and then lease it back for minimal, $1 a year or something.
Right, right. Okay, so that makes sense
Yeah.
to me completely. It's just somebody said, "I've got a business brain that drives me insane." Listen, I'm telling you that definitely was a unique one. I've never heard how you would put something like that together, but I've got to agree with you there. So this is moving forward, but you've also, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because you've got your own website, the maryjajames.com. You've also expanded this into your own thing. I don't know how to put it, but your own elements outside of just helping kids, but helping others with their mental health struggles and with these things. When did
Yes.
you decide that, like, hey, God's also given me the tools to do this?
God's also given me my son. Ha ha ha. Thank you. My greatest teacher. I get the gold medal because we just made it through with flying colors. That which didn't kill me made me much stronger. And
Amen.
yeah, and I just have a story, and I've worked with a team of healers, and I'm like, this needs to be spread, right? Again, my son did not become a shooter, did not medicate, or didn't self-medicate and, minimal medication. But, and I'm like, I have answers that people aren't aware of, and I have an obligation to share it with them. And, this is just the first book. The next book is going to be great, where it's like not only your child, but anybody that, pisses you off or triggers you, like, let's use it, right, as a method to heal, right? And moving, I want to guide everybody from life happens to us, that life happens for us. And I understand that some
I
people
love
say,
that.
like, yeah, and I understand, like, trust me, my childhood trauma, oh my goodness. But when we can guide ourselves to that, it's transformational. And God willing, we can help the kids, right? If we can help teens, my heart just goes out to foster kids, right? Why would someone choose that for their life? But if we believe that we're spiritual souls having a human experience and we choose each incarnation, some of us, yeah, whatever, So, yeah, it's really key. The sooner we can start helping the kids. And again, Piggy Bear is there to help them. And then there's going to be a next phase that needs to be done. And then helping the parents. And I always say for moms, my husband always refers his patients to me. But I always say we need to put our oxygen mask on first, help ourselves before we can help our spouses and our
Okay. Okay,
children.
that makes sense.
It is, yeah. And a lot of the things I do, sometimes I could be called woo or woo woo. And a lot of women, and like when your child is suffering that much, you're willing to try everything. I'm Jewish.
Absolutely.
I'm part of a couple of Bible study classes because I love when these women talk about God winks. My Jewish friends don't talk about God winks, right? And when one of them had to go and do a speaking engagement, she came to our gala. She's like, "Oh my God, you're amazing. Can I use your speaking coach?" I'm like, "Actually, it's a hypnotherapist." And I said, "Please just have a call with her." And I said, "Listen, wherever the original your limiting beliefs come from, whether it's this life, a past life, you don't believe in past lives, it doesn't matter. It's just anything to make your mental and emotional health the best it could be, Oh, yeah.
Keisha said a little woo woo. And listen, I ain't got no issue with a little woo woo.
And we need a song. Here's a little woo woo in my, I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway.
we can come up with something, but we can come up with something with that. But I think, and I'm going to go over to this because I think the thing that really tugged at my heart when I heard you talk about this, and foster matters to me. My mother was adopted by an aunt and uncle. My stepmother was a foster child for a long time. My ex-wife's mother was a foster child.
Wow.
My best friends have adopted two kids. It's something it's surrounded my life, and it's very interesting to me. But the other side to it, and I really want you to talk about this because is the aging out. I think most people don't understand the aging out, like kids that were already older when they went into the foster system, people aren't looking for them, or we've seen the movie or we've heard the stories where it's like they were 13 and they entered into the foster system, running away, stealing cigarettes. They were the bad apple looking for something to do. And like that's what we expect. Like, hey, this kid's gonna come into my house. They've lived their entire life in just tragedy. And now I need to invite him to my house and I have to lock everything up and protect my own children while I try to help this kid. But that's
Yeah.
not what it is.
No, not at all. And let me tell you this. So one of the healing modalities that I've done is
Healing,
neuroemotional
healing, healing what?
modalities.
What the hell's that?
Modalities.
Now you're
A
gonna ask
healing modality.
what is a
It's a
healing modality?
a different type of modality is NET, neuroemotional technique. I'll tell you about that in a second. There's hypnotherapy, there's Reiki, energy healing, so
Okay,
different types of
gotcha.
modalities. Yeah, yeah. So when a child is in the mother's utero, and if that mother thinks I don't want this child, that child is going to have cellular trauma. I mean,
Really?
so they're right there. And even if the mother keeps the child, it's so interesting. Our bodies are a subconscious mind and they don't forget. The body keeps the score. Unbelievable. Now, I don't know if you saw the Melania movie. I made my husband watch it with me for my birthday in March.
No.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I will tell you one thing. So we're not getting into politics at all.
Yeah,
Piggy Bear for
no.
president. But I will say this. I was just curious. And she talked about working with foster kids and helping to get them scholarships to college. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, we need to go way back and help them feel safety and security
Yes.
before, right? Because, our brains get stuck in our childhood trauma and drama, and we need to help them much earlier. I have a client that I'm working with, a beautiful 28-year-old. He's a foster child of a friend of mine. And I'm like, you know what? I just have to treat him to 3 sessions with this healer because he's got this voice in his head from, and it doesn't tell him how good he is. And if you have a voice in your head that tells you you're not good, you're not going to be good, and you're not going to do good, and you're going to get fired. And I have somebody else, a beautiful person that doing good works, and they hire 30% of their workforce are foster kids. And do you know
Oh,
how many
wow.
times the kids call out? Because they don't have the stability or whatever it is. So we just need to, oh my goodness, just really help them. Yeah. So
That's a listen. I mean, and it's interesting that they would make scholarships. Listen, I know foster kids. Most of them actually, because depending upon, I guess it's a state to state thing. Depending on the state, they actually have college paid for them automatically. Like in New York, their education's taken care of. Like so, those are kind of things where you can tell when people are disconnected from what the system. Like you're disconnected from this.
yeah,
Like and
let's
it,
educate her. I mean them.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you're disconnected from the system. Oh, they need college scholarships. No, they actually have that covered for them. At least in New York.
Yeah,
There's a lot of horrible things I can say about New York and the taxes and everything else. But you're in Cali, so you get it also.
yeah,
You just went from bad taxes to bad taxes. I just want you to know that.
yeah. But I
Uh,
went to the sunshine, and it's nice.
Listen,
You have
you know
mental
what?
health.
I'm the guy who went to California and always ended up in San Diego in May and June. I talk about it on the show all the time. So I got the May grays and the June glooms.
Oh
I
no! But yeah,
always ended up there during those times. But it's such a great idea here. And again, folks, if you want to ask questions, please drop them into the chat here. If you want to know what I almost said Mara's got going on, you can go ahead and check out marajjames.com. And it's not marijuana, it's marajjames.com. It's so great.
so
Like I don't know what happened to you, like you, sweetheart. And I mean, it was all the love of my heart. You are wired for sound, and you are like I couldn't imagine like if you smoke a little bit, you might
oh,
just like level out. You level out.
oh no, no. Let me tell you, if I did anything, I wouldn't come back.
Oh, just
I would
level.
not come back because I might plan. Yeah, no, I've had too many out of body experiences naturally.
Well,
Like
I
I,
see. I love that. I loved it. And I love the fact that you've learned to recognize the voice. A lot of us don't understand how to recognize the voice of God speaking to us and showing us a path. They think, and listen, and I understand society. Oh, you're out of your mind. Listen, folks, you can call it whatever you want,
yeah,
but the reality of it is whatever your system of beliefs is, God's out there and he's giving you that path to where you're at. Real quick, we're coming up on last call here. So find poor, listen, file poor, repeat. All right, it's tax day. You're going to go through the receipts, the forms, the headaches, and if you made it through all that, you've earned something on the other side of it. This episode is brought to you by New Scotland Spirits, small batch handcrafted whiskey made right here in upstate New York. Bold, smooth, and built with zero shortcuts, kind of like the returns you wish you filed. So, whether you're celebrating a refund or just surviving the process, take a minute, pour something solid, and call it a day. Head to newscotlandspirits.com and grab a bottle. New Scotland Spirits, file it, forget it, and pour it. All
yeah,
right.
and
So,
drink
we're,
it. Love it.
oh, listen, I've always got, listen, right there, another
Mm,
bottle of New Scotland.
love
That's
it.
the one thing I would say. Like, I've never heard anybody, sidebar completely, I've never heard anybody say, hey, I got some good California whiskey. Wine. You guys got good wine.
Yeah, no, but they do sell whiskey here from other places, so that's good.
Yeah, you don't have any good California. But here on the East Coast,
Yeah,
and it's so weird. Like we have lots of good whiskey. So
Ooh.
where are we taking this journey? So we're working with the kids, we're helping them with their mental health struggles, but where's the next step in our journey?
So, and we're working with parents. Parents.
Listen, the parent side to it, I can't even imagine of all of it because we're stubborn as it is, and we
Yes.
figure and we think we have it. But so is that the next step in the journey? Is
Yeah.
the parents?
So to get a little 100%. So yes, it's all about the parents, right? And these kids are here. I believe they're incarnated angels that are here to change the world, starting with their parents. And when a parent, a lot of like, I have a friend that referred her daughter, and she wouldn't speak to me. 6 years. She had a daughter. Her daughter was 6 years old and experienced some interesting stuff. And then finally, 3 years later, when her daughter was 9 years old, she reached out. Because listen,
Wow.
when your child, like I just met with somebody, it was a potential donor. And the next minute, we're talking about her 7-year-old, and I was guided to bring my book for her to help the mother. She said, "My daughter's 7. She started hearing footsteps, and now she won't. She's in my bed every night. She won't sleep without,
Oh
coming in."
wow.
And I'm like, "Congratulations, your daughter's gifted." And we get to teach her how to close that connection. Because, when you're open, you said, listen to your voice. There's two voices. There's the angels and the devil, right? And God. And like, which one do we want to listen to? And then I'll tell you also, there's a little secret. Not everybody has that little voice. For example, I'll be driving and I'll get a message from the license plate next to me and numbers in this. So not everybody has that voice.
I
And
respect that so much. You have no idea how much I respect that.
yeah, and it's a great thing to get to. I do something called, if you ever went to a chiropractor that does kinesiology, they push your arm to get yes, no answers from your body. So I do Zooms with people, usually moms, that we do biofeedback, and we're asking their body what, like, yes, no questions for them, for their child. So it's kind of like a direct connection to your higher self, to God, angels, somebody on the other side that's passed. It's profound, it's life-changing. And that is where my heart is, because so many people are suffering right now. And I always say, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, but healing is possible. And I am here to guide people to do it.
Say that one more time. I
Knew you
love
were going
that.
to ask that. Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, and healing is possible.
That is such a I love that. That's a t-shirt. You know that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's a t-shirt or a bumper sticker.
Bumper sticker. Yeah, for sure. And people don't even know they're suffering. I didn't even know. Remember, I didn't know
No.
until I was 52 years old, my childhood trauma. Very traumatic. But
Are
then
you comfortable? Like you've mentioned that like 5 times,
1,000%.
but like, are you
Totally.
comfortable saying what happened?
Absolutely. So, let me preface it. So, 48 years old, heavily medicated. 2 years later, weaned off of all my medication. And then it took another 2 years. So, I have 4 years of healing under me, where my nervous system was able to receive this memory of being molested by my father as a little girl. But wait, there's more. That, my husband and my brother are like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." And then a year later, I have a healer say, "Do you think somebody else molested you?" And I'm like, "Aha, the plot thickens." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm being told that he was the one, he did the worst thing." I'm like, "Okay." So, and when you're living in the house with that or something, your whole nervous system is constantly in fight or flight, right? And how to feel safe and bring your body, parasympathetic. It's been quite the journey, but it's all doable. And yeah. And if I could forgive my dad from doing that, I feel
Wow.
like I, God willing, can encourage and inspire everybody to forgive anybody and everybody.
Hold on 1 second. My wife just came downstairs. Are you telling me the dogs ate that?
Seeds. They left me one seed. There was 5 in that other
They
one.
they ate that whole pack of seeds?
This is what I came home to.
Of course, I would tell you to Google the spiritual meaning of it, but not now.
No. So you understand your dogs ate $100.
Do they
So
eat money or food?
seeds,
What kind?
marijuana.
I
That's
can't find it.
Sorry, but that's really funny as we're talking and you keep calling me marijuana.
And I keep calling you marijuana. So my wife listen, you better plant one of them dogs.
I don't
You
know.
better plant a dog or dig through some doggy poopy to figure out where you're. Take that single seed with you. No, take it there and go put it in the ground. Take it with you now. I'm sorry for that. My wife was like in a panic over here, and I'm like,
No, this
what?
is, I'm going to take advantage of this. Ready? So dogs eating marijuana seeds usually just means curiosity of attraction to the spiritually, if you want to assign meaning to it, because Mara does that always, it could loosely point to boundaries, protection, and staying aware of what's being taken in, but that's symbolic, not inherent.
Uh, how about 5 seeds is $100, and we can have one less dog in the world.
Oh God, no, yeah.
I wouldn't do that, but
No, no, no. Well, just you have to
um,
keep them away from that,
I
right?
don't know where she. Listen. That was one of the greatest things. Look, 20 years in the Marine Corps, and
Yeah.
even before then, I wasn't that kid. It's in them, and I just like to grow. Like I'm the guy who's like, they're like, "Are you smoking it?" I'm like, "No, I just like to grow it because I like. Can I grow this? This is
Right.
so cool. It's so much fun to grow stuff." Our garlic is coming up. Completely sidebar. I have
Ooh.
160 bulbs of garlic that I plant, and I think out of that 160, only maybe like less than 10 didn't grow.
Oh, good. Nice percentage.
And we always grow a ton. Well, it's actually funny, completely adding to all this. I just had this conversation with my pastor at my church. I said, you should do a sermon on garlic. He looked at me like I had 15 heads.
Right.
So I said, here you go. I said, I can plant one seed of garlic. One seed of garlic will produce a bulb. That bulb will have 5 to 7 seeds in it. When I plant that next 5 to 7 seeds, I now have another 5 to 7 bulbs with 5 to 7 seeds in them that I can replant. I said, that's how the message grows. Are you planting one seed
Mm,
every day and having a conversation? And that's what you're doing there, Mara. That's what you're doing. You're planting a seed every single time you open your mouth for someone to hear
mm,
to grow a new bulb for
yeah.
them to talk because I think we're scared. We live in a society where we're scared to talk about faith, we're scared to talk about God, we're scared to talk about religion. When we're very very little, it's okay because it's cute. No, it's talking about God. It's so cute.
Yeah.
And then we become a teenager and we want to stay in those groups. Remember we talked about those groups and we don't want to get lost in them. And then when we become in our 20s and 30s, who are you, which person are you, and we worry about, will people judge me for my belief. and,
Yeah.
and I love the fact that you found God, or God reminded you that he was there. and,
God found me. I wasn't looking, but thank you. Yeah, totally.
and you're willing to have that conversation with people and push that out. That's a very brave thing to do, and I applaud you for it. So what is tell me some of your goals here with between Elf, between Piggy Bear, between uh Mary Mary, I almost said Mary Jane.
Mara J. James.
Mary,
Yep.
Mary J. James.
Yeah.
It could also be a Marvel comic book character, J. Jonah Jameson. Uh, but what are some of our goals that we have coming up here?
Love it. So, God once shared with me that we're all on a journey to heal and we're ignoring our mission. I said, Roger that, I'll spread that word. And as you could look around, we are living biblical times. It's the time of the Great Awakening. And we need to, as you like, I feel like we need to light everyone's lights. And as you
Mhm.
said, with both, planting the seeds and all that. So, so given that, with everything I'm doing, I'm here just to help everybody heal. We start with the young children, help them feel safe, help them feel unconditional love. And that's what Piggy Bear is here to do. So that when they can do that and they can relax and calm their nervous system, they're able to learn. If they don't have a high emotional literacy, they can't learn anything, right? And then just helping everybody, find unconditional love within themselves and just using the world, because the world will give us and triggers and keep repeating the triggers until we change something. So I love to share this, that the world gives us feathers, and they float by and we don't see them, right? And then the world gives us golf balls and we go, ooh, and then we get the brick, right? And let that brick, let's get our wake up call before the brick, but the brick can be, you know, a death, a cancer diagnosis, a car accident, something really bad. Yeah, it's usually something really strong. And then that's like the wake up call. But I feel that we keep coming back until you know, just we can live like heaven on earth. You know what I'm saying? It's
I
not like,
love it.
let's not be good now because we have to go live after. You know, our souls are endless. But if you want to live heaven on earth versus hell on earth, we have the choice. And just having the courage, and I want to give people the courage to look inside. As my husband always says, he's like, I'm going to die. I'm never going to be vulnerable. I'm like, and I was told, no, but this is great. I hope he's not listening.
I hope he's listening. Listen.
Oh,
Listen,
no,
what's his name? What's his name? What's his name?
Kenny,
Kenny?
yeah.
All right, Kenny, I hope you're listening. Listen.
Yeah, and he'll listen to the recording, if not now. So I have one of my spiritual advisors said to me, something's going to happen to your husband. I'm like, okay. I'm like, God, if I can make a recommendation, because I'm not in control here. I'm like, can we limit it? So on Halloween, he was wearing a costume going to do a delivery at the hospital and he tripped and fell. So, and he's like doing, you know, delivery. He's like, oh, I'm a little pain. I'm like, well, you're in the hospital for 24 hours, get an x-ray. So he ended up breaking his elbow. And of course he injured his ribs on the left side. Well, what's on the left side? It's protecting the heart. So since that happened, I'm like, okay, he gets home Saturday. I'm like, we're doing a 911 telephone session with one of our healers. And then, you know, so I push as much as I can, but I'm guiding him. And I see as he keeps doing this, he's transforming. And, you know, our bodies, like when our body has pain, there's always an emotion under it. So, and he's even like living, you know, he's just like, oh, you think everything's so easy and great. I'm like, no, I don't. But when you're one with and when you give your life over to a higher power, it's like kumbaya, everything's good. You know, mind you, God forbid, I get a call that one of my children, 24, 27, and 30, are on the way to the ER. I'm not so good. I'm like, God, I know it's in your hands, but can we keep it, you know, painless and whatever? So, but it's all about having a connection with whatever higher power means to you and knowing that it's not a judgmental one. And even my dad, the pedophile, didn't go to hell, though he's doing his work on the other side. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I found out about that too. That's a whole nother story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just sling that shit right on in there.
I figured we have a couple minutes left.
Let me zip that one right on in there. So, well, listen, folks.
Sorry,
again,
I'm laughing because it's you got, you know, you laugh, you cry. I'd like to laugh more, you know.
Laughing always is better. So, listen, folks. Again, if you want to know what Mara's got going on, go to marajjames.com. You can find out all the stuff she has going on. Any upcoming speaking engagements, anything like that coming up?
Well, let me also say, if you're interested in getting involved, like volunteering, donating to the nonprofit, it's elfempowers.org. Here helping to focus on children's mental health and emotional wellness. My speaking engagements will be listed on the website. I have one locally in Tustin, California on Monday. And I'm always available just to help guide others and, you know,
Former Marine Corps base Tustin.
Oh, there you go. Oh, and by the way, so I have to ask you, sorry, but do you have PTSD from being in the Marines?
No.
None. You're just no, because I feel like you're using your sixth sense, and then you're all cool, huh?
No. So that's a whole thing. Like, so a lot of people. So I attribute that in a different way. Some guys I served with really suffered from that. I spent 12 of my 20 years on recruiting duty. So I'm hyper aware of things and I pay attention to things, but I was never in combat. I always joke and say, my insurgents were parents who were uneducated, but I dealt with other things. Like I had a job and anybody who's ever served on recruiting duty would tell you, it's the only job in the Marine Corps where I've watched combat hardened Marines that have like done things that you would go, oh shit, you really did that. Combat hardened Marines buckle in on recruiting duty because it's the only job in the Marine Corps where we're dealing with civilians every day. They don't understand rank structure. They don't care about your rank structure. It means nothing to them. I've had Marines that I've worked for that were combat hardened Marines that were in what they call MARSOC, Marine Special Operations Command, come out on recruiting duty with me, and a kid back talk him. And let's see, he was about my height. I'm 5'7", 5'8", 5'7.5". So he was about 5'8", and the kid he snatched up was about 6'5", and he snatched him up and brought him as close to God as this kid's probably ever been, to make sure he understood, like, you don't ever speak to me in that manner.
Mm,
So my my wife would probably tell you my trauma is different only because I can't fail from being on recruiting duty. I have an extreme fear of failure. Anything that comes along that I could fail at, I'm so worried to be judged by it. That's my
mm,
that's what it is for me, because being on in that world where every month it was a what have you done for me lately world. So
mm.
that's what I fear the most. It's what could happen to me if I failed today at what I'm doing. What could happen to me? And those budget blinds, those 5 budget blinds, I own those. So that's me.
Yeah.
So now it's even a bigger fear. I've never actually said this to anybody. So now my fear is there's about, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, at least 6 people who eat off of my table. So I can't fail because they pay mortgages, they pay for food, they pay for everything. So my fear every day is I can't fail them, because
Yeah.
if I fail, they don't eat.
That's a lot of
I'll,
pressure on you.
oh yeah,
So
so
let's
that's
talk for
my
a second.
PTSD.
Fear, false evidence appearing real, right? And so if you put it all on your shoulders and don't think like God's in control of it, you're going to live in fear and drink
Mhm.
bottles a night. And I would like, give it over. I mean, not just give it over. You can't give it over. You have to work
I know
through
what
it.
you mean.
Like if there's a hypnotherapist that's, you have some limiting beliefs, but you're doing God's work and you're putting that on your shoulders. Oh, don't give yourself a heart attack or tight
No.
muscles,
So I say my prayer. My wife will tell you. My wife and I have been together since 2011, and she probably thought like, "Oh my God, what am I dealing with here?" But I say my prayers every night, regardless of what the night is. I
Yeah.
say my prayers every night. And one of the things I say in my prayers every night, and I'll get your final word here in a minute. But one of the things I say in my prayers every night is, God, give me the ability to see the path that you've laid before me, the ability to hear the words that you've spoke to me, and the bravery to speak those words back to other people.
And what does he say?
So far, I'm doing pretty good with it, because I'm no, as I would say, I ain't no bitch, and I'll tell you exactly how I feel about anything, and
Yeah. But does he
I ain't
want you to
scared.
live in this fear?
Now, I don't think it's a matter of God wants me to live in this fear, but it's a respect for me. It's a respectful thing, because I respect the fear that I have in that way, and it drives me to
To
keep
keep doing
going
it.
every day, because I know that I have days where I'm like, you know what, I don't have to go on appointments with anybody. I could. One of my favorite things to do is I love to go to the range. I enjoy to shoot. It's a joy that I have. Being able to see holes in paper for some reason brings
Awesome.
me joy. And I could easily be like, you know what? I'm going to pack my stuff up and I'm going to go to the range and just spend the day at the range. Um, but I your website says it's not safe to open. Something's up with your website. Check your website.
MaraJJames.com.
Check it again,
Right?
marajjames.com. But that's
So
really
that's your
something.
mental health day is shooting. Let
Yeah,
it right.
that's something I enjoy. But I always feel like
Website's
God.
working, by the way. Sorry.
Okay, check
Yeah.
it out, Orchid. You
Yeah.
might be missing that. You might be missing that extra J. But what I always say is, God always puts me where I need to be when I need to be there. And it's so important to me. But
Amen.
as we do in every episode, and don't log off on me afterwards. We got to talk for a couple minutes afterwards. The guest always gets the final word. So what is our final word for tonight?
Oh God, I would have given you the pain is inevitable one. Oh, I know. This is the bilingual book, by the way.
Okay.
Okay, so I want you, Sean, and everybody watching to open your
Okay.
arms out wide with your hands facing the sky and repeat after me. I am amazing. Come on. No,
Okay.
hands up.
I am amazing.
You are amazing, and don't forget how truly wonderful you are.
You are amazing, and don't forget truly how wonderful you are.
Yay.
Alrighty, folks. Be sure to push your stool in.
This has been a Second Front podcast presentation found on Apple, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found.